dealing with fitna, which is chaos, turmoil, tribulation. And that is when inaction is actually necessary. When inaction, being intentionally inactive, is actually a good thing. And where we hold ourselves back, especially when we don't know what to do. Now, this is actually a very important dimension here, that many of the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ about the end times are acted upon prematurely throughout Islamic history. So people who thought that the end of times would have been 800 years ago or 900 years ago, that's there. And so they kind of abandoned all things and didn't do anything. So prematurely acted upon some of these ahadith in their most absolute sense. And there are others that deal with these ahadith in a very inappropriate way, where they use these ahadith to introduce things that are not actually concepts in the religion. And so let's be very clear. When there is a known good to busy yourself with, then it is good to busy yourself with that known good. And when there is a known wrong to combat and to work against, then it is always good to busy yourself in working against that which is wrong. But then when there's a lot of confusion in between, and gray areas, and disinformation, and chaos, and people don't know where to go or what to do, that's where holding yourself back becomes very important in this regard. And so let's talk about this for a moment, inshallah ta'ala. Before I get to this beautiful hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he gives 3 fundamental tips that a person can act upon to really keep themselves safe when things become confusing and distracting. This hadith is one in which Abu Umama asks Abu Tha'laba radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, this verse in the Quran, alaykum anfusakum, like worry about yourself. Worry about yourself, which is one of those statements that can be good or can be grossly misinterpreted, right? To mean abandon all others. Worry about yourself. He said, does that mean that like we really should not care about society or worry about what's happening outside of ourselves and outside of our homes? How do we deal with this? And he said, you know, I asked the Prophet ﷺ that question. And he said to me, بَلْ ائْتَمِرُوا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنَاهَوْا عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. Rather, you should enjoin good and you should forbid evil. You should not abandon the act of enjoining good, doing good things, and working against that which is not good, working against that which is not wrong. You should enjoin good, you should forbid evil. But he said after that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, حَتَّى إِذَا رَأَيْتَ شُحًّا مُطَاعًا وَهَوًا مُتَّبَعًا وَدُنْيَا مُؤْثَرَةً وَإِعْجَابُ كُلِّ ذِي رَأْيٍ بِرَأْيِهِ فَعَلَيْكَ بِنَفْسِكَ وَدَعْ عَنْكَ الْعَوَامِ. Powerful narration. He said, until you see people reach this level. And this particular level, by the way, is an absolute level, but there are always going to be elements of these things. So he said, until you see people reach a point where شُحًّا مُطَاعًا means people succumb to their greed. Shuh is a very particular type of greed. It's to hold back what is due to God or due to the people around you. So holding back zakah, or not fulfilling the rights of your family, not fulfilling the rights of your society upon you, holding back your wealth, holding back what you owe to others. Because people succumb to greed, which is a potential fault or flaw in all of us. They succumb to greed. Shuhan muta'an. Or he went on to say, wahawan muttaba'an. And people follow their lusts. Now you'll always find greedy people, and you'll always find people following their lusts. But the idea that this becomes the dominant order of the world around you, that people are shameless in their stinginess, and people are openly in obedience or in worship of their lusts and of their desires. And then he said, وَدُنْيَا مُؤْثَرَةً. And you find that people prefer the life of this world to the life of the hereafter, very clearly and very openly. And the next one he said, وَإِعْجَابَ كُلِّ ذِي رَأْيٍ بِرَأْيِهِ. And every person has an opinion on everything. Everyone has an opinion on everything. And they're impressed by their own opinion. It's actually a very profound way of putting it. Everyone that could possibly have an opinion has an opinion on everything. So you have an opinion on everything from religion to science to medicine to biology to sociology. You know it all because you got something on WhatsApp that looked very compelling and you forwarded it and you were very compelled by it and very compelling with arguing why it's true. So, you know, there's very little dispute in the world today that there is mass disinformation. The dispute is about who's causing the mass disinformation, right? And who should be checking it, not whether or not there is mass disinformation. That's a fact at this point, right? We live in a post-truth world.